Hello Internet, welcome to my channel. This is Navy FODDER and my name is Ache. Today we're gonna be talking about the Yubari, an old friend of mine since the times of Navy Field. And yeah, I'm that old. But let's focus on the ship, right? Okay, so despite the hate, she's a fine ship. Once you have sound understanding of its capabilities. And I say this because people buy the ship thinking that, oh well, it's a cruiser and at 4.7. And they think they're gonna, dominate. And then War Thunder happens. Let's say that Naval RB nowadays is a dire place to go and have fun. But worry not, my friend. We are here to help you optimize the ship so you go from a little Yubari to a fully blossomed, strong and independent Yubari player. And I say this because this ship suffers from what I like to call the zero syndrome. And what I'm talking about here is remember that time when you were, playing US Air Branch in Air RB and you were playing the Wildcat and the For You, and you were constantly getting owned by the Zero, and you were like, oh my god, such a nice plane to fly. It's so strong. It always gets me. And then you try the Japanese Air Branch. You get to the Zero, you go out and play it, and you suck with it. So you get disappointed with the machine because you get confronted with the thought of how is it possible that when I fly against it, I get owned, and when I fly it, I suck with it. Big time. That is the first step, and there are two possible outcomes. One, you think the machine is just bad, so you leave it in its place, you don't touch it anymore, and that's it. End of the story. Or the second option is that you realize that maybe it is you that is doing something wrong, and then you start realizing and start understanding how to use the machine and how you need to play it. And then is when you, my friend, start enjoying the Yubari. So what we are going to do here is we're going to talk about the good things of the ship, the drawbacks of the ship. We're going to mix all that together, and that's going to give us the gameplay that we need to do in order to have fun with the ship. Oh, before I forget, let me show you my stats with it. If I look at those numbers, I come to the conclusion that after 91 games, 186 kills is nothing to write home about. It's just an average of 2 kills per game. But then, if you look at the plain kills per death, and I mean no assist, just kills per death, that says that every time that our beloved Yubari goes boom, you have brought the same destiny to another 3 players. And a win rate of 59%, I got to say, it is a fine surprise. I would have never expected this ship to have a performance like this. So let's talk about the goodies. You guessed it right, torpedoes. So yeah, 10 kilometer range, 70 kilometers per hour without the torpedo mode. With the torpedo mode, they go up to 20 kilometers range and 50 kilometers per hour, which is too slow. These are only good to launch to the, to the spawns of the enemy team, which in my opinion is not a valid tactic, but it's there. As I said, I use them with the 10 kilometers, 70 kilometers per hour because it's fast enough and the range is long enough for the way you're going to be using them, which is for an ambush. And the firing angles also support this theory. You also have some reloads, which is always good to have, isn't it? The second positive thing about Yubari is its size and maneuverability. She is really hard to hit, easy to hide, and she sits very low in the water. That is because even though in game she is classed as a light cruiser, in reality, she was a prototype that ended up being classified by some as a destroyer leader because of its design, because of a more like an enlarged destroyer. But in game, you will get the cruiser spawn, which is fair enough because I think if you get the destroyer spawn, yeah, this thing will be OP because this is basically a destroyer killer. And as being an enlarged destroyer, you have an enlarged complement. That means you have 368 crew members, which is really good, and the main thing that is going to keep you afloat in this ship. As for the AA coverage, I would say is decent enough. You have the usual 25mm in all of the arrangements, in double turrets, triple turrets, and the coverage is decent enough. Then you have the 120mm gun, because remember this ship is under the configuration of 1944. And yeah, the 120mm is at the front, and it's just the one single gun. And it's just there. Every now and then you will see the hit marker at the center of your screen. And yeah, that's this gun. And the last and more important thing to know about the Yubari, it is its ammo arrangement. It does allow you to face any kind of threat in the BR range that you are going to be facing. More importantly, from UR 4.7, so you're going to be prepared to deal with anything between 3.7 till 5.7. That's because you could mount the HE, which is a good enough round, 3 kilograms of TNT equivalent, 35mm of penetration. It's just average. Then the next cell is the one that I don't recommend you to use. This is the Type 2 SAP, semi-ammo piercing round, which it is HE basically with higher penetration values at short ranges, but once you go higher than 5 kilometers, it turns to be basically HE, and you do have a little bit less of TNT equivalent in it. So why would you use this? And the main shell itself, here it is the Mod 1 semi-ammo piercing. This shell gives you two things. The first thing is it gives you the chance to fight against cruisers because the penetration values are good enough to give you the possibility to damage mainly crew compartments, and second, less armor parts of the enemy cruiser, such as turrets, bridges, secondary armament, ammo elevators, all that jazz, even at long ranges. As you can see here, even at 10 kilometers, you have 54mm of penetration, which for these things is gonna be enough. The second thing about this shell is its filler. It does have 2.21 kilograms of TNT equivalent. This compared to the average filling of a destroyer semi-ammo piercing shell is nearly double. Those shells normally contain only about 1 kilo of TNT, while yours is 2.21 kilos, as we said before. Does that mean that you have double the damage of a destroyer? Absolutely not. This means that if you take in consideration the fire rate of those ships, which is normally higher than your first stage and more than double than your second stage, let's say that the grounds are leveled. And the last shell type is the high explosive time fused. This one I like to bring just about 20 rounds of it to be able to deal with those pesky bombers. The way I use it is to wait until the bomber is on its last approach, that is where its flight path is more predictable, as it is flying directly towards you, and more importantly, the range is short, thus giving you a high chance to bring the enemy bomber down. because you're gonna be focused. Alright, let me just clarify one last thing, and it is that these shell options are just my personal preference. You might like the option of using the semi-ammo piecing mod 2, and it is a perfectly viable option. But if you do, please download HE, SAP mod 2 and SAP mod 1, because in my opinion it is redundant. The way I see it is that if you only take in consideration destroyers, yes, then you should use the SAP mod 2. But if you think about cruisers, which in my experience are the ones to fear, the ones that normally sink you, you should use the HE plus the SAP mod 1 combo. And then you could go, well, I'll just load the 3 of them and it's fine, but you will remember me when you get bombed time and time again. So this leaves us with 2 possible options for the loadout. One would be the SAP mod 2 plus SAP mod 1 plus HE time fused, and the second one, HE plus SAP mod 1 plus HE time fused. I used the second one because the difference of penetration between the HE and the SAP mod 2 is only manifest at ranges of 5 kilometers and less, which in my opinion is negligible. But on the other hand, the difference of TNT filler adds up every time you hit, so it's the most optimized way to answer to the different threats that you will find in the 3.7 to 5.7 VR bracket. And now I would like to show you the SAP mod 1 in action, but you are more than welcome to skip ahead. In this clip we just finished one engagement with an enemy Detroit that is now beneath the waves because our torpedo hit, and now we are engaging a potland at a range of about 6 kilometers and an angle of, I would say, it is 30 degrees. That was our first angle, so that gives us a 60-ish millimeters of pen. He has range on us and we are about to acquire, and take a look at this, there it goes joink, because hitting the top turret at this angle and at this range, it does have a nearly 80 millimeters of effective thickness, so that observation is valuable because it does tell us that we need to hit lower. That is why we are trying to hit not just the turret but the side of it. We are trying to aim for the barbette. We get a fire there and we did not knew that this was here. This is a mistake of situational awareness. Who put this island in this place? Anyway, we're gonna fast forward. We get a few hits. He gets a few hits, but nothing major. Meanwhile, we are replenishing our first stage of ready-to-use ammo for some sweet high fire rate. So we are still at the same situation as before. I'm looking good, and he's focusing that little destroyer there. I'm trying to acquire range already, and yeah, looks good. This is what I was looking for. As you can see, I hit the barbette, which have 37 millimeters of armor and are circular. So I was kind of aware that I could pen there, and also the ammo elevators, which are lightly armored, and this is when things start to go south for Mr. Pullman here. As you can see, I got a fire going and I'm starting to hit things precisely. This one goes onto the, very close to the ammo elevator and to the very first turret, which is what I'm trying to hit because I want to disable them. This is not quite in place, so I'm gonna correct, and yeah, I've got all the compartments at the front on, And as you can see now, the fire rate is much slower as well. Well, there's a few fires going. There I got the second turret, and I'm trying to hit the very first one now. I am shooting a bit high because what I want is to hit the side or the top, and as you can see I got the first one, and now there's a lovely fire going on there. And now I start firing to the third turret, the one that is behind. Right, so that's the first shot. It's very close, so I go back a little bit and shoot again. And this one gets that turret on yellow. This one looks good, and we get a fire and we knocked out all of his turrets. That fire there is huge because he has not been firing with the back turret for a while. That means that there is a chance for a detonation of the ammo that is located there, but that is something that I wasn't aware at the time. Now that he has all of his turrets disabled, we can continue trying to get his crew compartments. The ones amidships are yellowish, so thanks for showing the broadside there, mate. You're making my life much easier. There you go. His damage control is not putting that fire out, and his crew count is going down slowly but surely. He managed to put the fire out. We are very lucky that his team is not supporting him. And then this is the ideal situation, isn't it? He's pretty much done here. He's down to 13% of crew left. Another fire going, and he's now a big bonfire. Finally, we can talk about the hairy stuff. The drawbacks of the Yubari are the main battery and the lack of armor, mainly. If we look at the main battery, the first thing that we see is the arrangement of it. And yes, it is two turrets with two 140mm guns in them. That means that if you happen to lose one of them, you are, yes, losing half of your entire firepower. Then you've got plenty of ready-to-use ammo scattered around the ship. And if we talk about the turret traverse, that is another thing that is not very good in the Yubari. It is 4 degrees per second, which is slow, and is something that you need to keep in mind, because to put you into context here, there are some heavy cruisers, even some battle cruisers, that have a quicker turret traverse. But it's not the end of the world. And then you keep on looking and you see the fire rate. And as you can see, you have 2 stages, in which the first one is 10 rounds per minute and the second one is 6.2 rounds per minute. You do have 40 ready to use ammo, and you've got 2 guns per turret. That means it is 20 shots. So you could withstand a engagement of 2 minutes with the fastest fire rate. Then it's gonna go down to 6.2 rounds per minute, which is again not the end of the world, but is something that you need to keep in mind. And the very last thing to consider is the armor, which is 38.1mm thick around the engines and transmission, which is good to have because your speed and maneuverability are your actual best armor. Whenever you are angling like this, because you want to have the 2 turrets firing at a time, it goes from 120mm to 60-ish millimeters. Then we look at the paper-thin magazine armor that is 22.2 millimeters thick, but as a good point, it is below the waterline. Having that extra distance means that it won't be very easy to pen, it will be just easy to pen. Then, as you can see, we have a good size auxiliary ammo storage there, increasing the chances of detonation. What's not to like? So, what kind of playstyle should you have with the Yubari? Well, I would say it comes very good in line of being a destroyer leader. That means that you should play this spawning on the obviously on the cruiser spawn, and then aiming to reach the cap zone that is closer to where the destroyers are operating. Try to be wary if you need to get where the where the small boats, where the PT boats are spawning, because you are kind of vulnerable to them. But that's another story. The main thing, you should be going to the cap zone of the destroyers, let's say, and then do your destroyer leader thing, and that is you need to add firepower to your little fleet, to your little flotilla of DDs. You need to add stay power by tanking, because remember, you've got 368 crew members. That's really good for a destroyer leader. And or simply you need to carry that kind of push, because maybe you are full of Moffat players and they are just hanging at the back pretending they are, I don't know what they do pretend doing by that, but maybe you find yourself in that situation and then you have to carry. Well, this ship has the tools to do it, but you need to remember the peculiarities of it, and which are that you need planning. And by that I mean you need all the information you could have. You cannot be surprised in this ship, because you're gonna sink, because it does have so many things that play against it, like the ammo over there that is gonna detonate that easy, the paper thin turrets, the lack of armor, the lack of turret traverse on your main gun battery. So that's all gonna play against you if you get surprised. So being surprised is the main problem that you're gonna find with this ship. But then if you plan well, you do well in the ship. And by that I mean you need to know where the engagement is gonna take place. And for that, you need to just look at the map, look at where the players are moving, and that's it. Basically, you need to know when and where you are going to engage. And for that, you need to position yourself, reload if you have fired your main gun battery, reload your first stage ammo to be able to have the highest fire rate, and position your back turret according to the way the engagement is going to be played out, and then ambush or engage, whatever the engagement it is. But keep in mind that the back turret is key, because it does hold half of the firepower of this ship, so you need to play with it. With that said, the first stage ammo is very important, because whenever you spend it, you go down in your reload rate by a lot, so that's very significant. So you need to keep that in mind. You cannot have long engagements, because you're gonna suffer from it. So you need like kind of a hit and run if you can. If not, just bear in mind that you're gonna be needing some cover, or just destroy the opposition and then reload your first rate and then engage again. So think about the engagement. If you get engaged in both sides, you cannot react to that very efficient. You need to turn your ship, you need to turn your bow into the least or the more dangerous part of the engagement, and then show your broadside to the other to bring your maximum firepower and deal with that menace. All in all, the Yubari, it's a really fun ship to play. It's very entertaining because it's a hard to master ship. Because of that, when you do good in this ship, it's very rewarding, and it's also very sexy. So that's why I play it. So without further ado, let's watch some gameplay on it. I hope you enjoy it. So here we are, and for a video like this, as it is kind of a guide, I would do a post commentary on it. I hope you don't mind, and let me know in the comments below if you like it more this way or not. Also mention that in this, by the time of this recording, the A6 M5 Go, which is in this lineup, is there because it was 4.7, but it just have been recently changed to 5.0, so keep that in mind. So the first thing is I'm just looking around, seeing where I'm going to go, trying to make that decision. I am planning beforehand, and as you can see, I have fully committed to the left flank because I cannot pass through the middle of those islands. Not even destroyers can. You need to access to B through A and C.
Awesome.
So as you can see, I have turned my back turret to the right. So when I go in onto A, I will turn left, putting my back turret onto a firing position. Also, I am firing from nearly 8 kilometers away, and as you can tell, I'm not firing at the highest fire rate. I am reloading the first stage ammo, and then I'm firing again. Yeah, got some hits, nothing major. Just looking around, trying to see what's going on in the battlefield. Also, a good thing to mention is that this game is a 5.0 game. There's a Detroit somewhere, so that means that I might be facing other 5.0s or even higher on the enemy team, but that's okay, we can deal with that. Just having a few pot shots, and as you can see, I'm not firing back straight away. I'm waiting for the first stage ammo to fully reload to the max, to be prepared for when I need it. As soon as it is done, I zoom in, then I leave the target, I wait for the range to update, and then you let go a salvo. Yep, that's unfortunate. It didn't tickle anything important. And this is a good example of why good gunnery discipline pays off. This guy appears and he is very dangerous because of his fire rate and the range at which we are. Luckily, he's not aware of my position and I can unleash onto him without retaliation. Perfect situation, innit? But imagine if I was shooting like crazy from the beginning of the game. I would be very close to this guy and to the slower fire rate. But thanks to our knowledge and good gunnery, we are on a completely different scenario. I have changed to HE because he went out of sight he was turning into us, and I would like to have those scary turrets offline ASAP. We do know that that ship does have a little bit of armor around the engines, so we will have to change to semi-armor piercing eventually. So as we lost lock on him, a teammate gets the kill here. And we found a constant speed and not going so fast. He's also not moving evasive, because why would you, Morphed player? Inside, how convenient, isn't it? We have to keep in mind not to spend all the ready to use ammo. Remember, we don't like long engagements. But this guy is just such an easy target, innit? There we go, we've got the elevator, and he's not looking tip-top. He did manage to bounce those shells, then he hit the back, not doing much. And we got the bridge, so now he's gonna keep on moving like this. And we got fire and another elevator hit. Sadly we didn't got the detonation, and he's starting to look not in tip-top condition. We got the first compartment there, we got the second one there, he's down to 45%. Got another good hit front. We're just looking around, seeing what's going on. And there you got it. We got a good hit at the center of the ship, and that was enough to send him back to the vehicle select screen. Now it's time to recover, reload, check the team, and see what to do, where to go next. It looks like I want to push into B. I want to turn to starboard.
Keep it up and victory will be ours.
To secure
Another
a
zone
win.
captured, we have the advantage.
Some people might say that you should push to the spawn point, but that is just not the Yubari way. Plus, as a destroyer leader, I should be really getting inside B, trying to control 2 cap zones, and even more now that we are losing control of B and we are not near to capping C. So this might start a comeback of the enemy team, and we are not going to allow that. This guy here is doing a tactical redeployment, or if you like it better, is running away. Anyway, it looks like the enemy team is actually pushing and doing good at sea. But I'm not expecting huge resistance at B. But it's going to be tricky because I won't be able to maneuver freely, and the PT boat spawns are very close. Here I'm just calling for my teammates to move up a little bit. Here we should be changing our back turret to the left side of the ship, but there is an enemy at our right side complicating our plans of world domination, but it's fine. Can't see it, but he's there. I've just locked onto him. And our powerful secondaries have opened fire against an enemy aircraft. Those are the first bombers appearing into the battlefield, and it's fine. I've just locked onto him and put a priority for him. I won the team, and I am on fire. Right, I am under fire, but thankfully Our teammate here is covering us with the smoke, and our short range anti-air guns starts to open fire onto the enemy aircraft. Here we are the focus of the enemy bomber because he up there has a clear view of the battlefield and he recognizes that I am the bigger threat to them. So he changes his course and starts diving onto me, and also very possibly he has alerted the rest of their team of my position. But he is being dealt with, and I can start moving onto the cap. He has clearly alerted the enemy team. But yeah, we have to, I am deciding what's the right course here, and okay, so he's down. Got a lucky fire, and he clearly got an ammo detonation or something. And yeah, we're looking good. We are gonna maneuver and follow the original plan. So we're gonna keep the back to it, looking to the left. And I think there is another enemy at our right. So we are gonna push into the gap and we are gonna try to deal with that threat. The skies are looking clear, so we can push. We can do our destroyer leader things. He's looking into us. It got hit onto our front main turret, so I just can't do nothing here. I can only do damage control and hope for that fire to be put out without a consequence. Got the detonation there. It's not good, but we still have nearly 80% of our crew ready, and we are repairing, replenishing our first stage ammo.
Thank you.
That was surely that was the thing that detonated back there. So we nearly have B in the pocket, securing us some sweet spawn points for the bomber later on the game. And he's not looking at us well. Yeah, he's shooting AP to our waterline, and he just got torpedoed. He just got torpedoed by the friendly pretty boat before. I mean, what a legend. But then we've got a couple enemies here. That's a gun ship, and there you go, big boat. And we have a Margotini here. He's not looking at us. And we can just, take time, try and get that sweet ammo detonation. So I'm shooting a bit lower, and it's not happening. And our teammate got the kill. Small bombers inbound. And I can hear, oh, okay. Right, so, okay, that wasn't the target. The guy with the Armada came back for the revenge kill, but he didn't quite get it. I'm sorry, mate. We are hard as nails.
And victory will be ours.
Oh, those are some torpedo hits, presumably from him. And this game is looking good. Okay, let's go into B.
Attack the enemy!
He's so far away. Oh, we've got a friend here, and he's been polite enough to say hello before he makes his attack. That was huge mistake, mate. Why would you do that? He went like, "Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, I'm gonna torp you. Would you mind putting your, your gunners onto me and kill me, please?" That's that's what he just did. Oh, I'm sorry, but that was not very smart. He should have watched if my gunners were on, which they were on AA. Get close and torp me, or even save the torps for another target. Just get close and they've charged me. But I have to say, he was a complete gentleman. Before he made his attack, he warned me and he just went like, "Excuse me, mate, I'm here to top you," so I do appreciate that. At this point it is GG. I have been very lucky this game. I had a good team also. We were able to do our game. We were able to do our destroy a leader thing. We got in position, we went to A, we won it, and then we got into B and we won it, and thus winning the game. I'm really sorry because the video is getting too damn long, but this is not an easy ship to make a guide on. So I hope this has helped you to... Oh, a big one. Helped you to unlock the most unknown secrets of the Yubari. And yeah, look at him. He's just... he wants to go home. He's just showing his broadside, and yeah, when you do that, big booms happen. So I will post more videos on the Yubari, but more inside the whole 4.7 lineup and not just the Yubari alone. As always, give us a like if you enjoyed the video or if you learned something from it, and please consider subscribing to help keep the channel afloat and to get more content. So yeah, thanks for watching.